Yeah, why are you keep pointing here? Yeah, we aren't coda until there.
Okay. You want to mark it or you're good?
It says Dakota. It's marked pretty
Okay.
well.
Okay. From here. You're good? I put a bit a little slower than that, but
Yeah,
that's
let's
it.
do a little slower. It should be like.
No, this one's 1, 2, 3, 4, and it
No,
says
it's
72.
72, so it's
It's
just
even higher.
a little faster. That one's say shalom sha. That's if you're playing at 60. That's what it would be. But 70 just say shalom shalom.
But it's the end song.
I can't play fast.
than this one. You know that one. I feel like this mask is either too big for me, too little. But it's not.
Yeah.
This one's too big.
It starts to get like loose at the edges, right?
Ones are big enough that I can roll the ear, but this one's not big enough.
Or which are we doing this?
This one. In case we have.
I saw that here there's a Is that you?
I guess. Yeah.
Maybe she said that there was some stuff that they were from older ones. So I think it's probably not there. It's probably not there. If you don't know, then because it wasn't me.
Right.
No, we're not doing that one.
Or not?
No. Hinemato, mismo shape, so we're gonna do deep hair. Let's do. No, it's just this keeps going, so let's just end here.
Just not do the holidays?
No, because we keep going to lejado this. That's a little too conclusive. I don't know this one.
Sheila, is this yours?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think it's good. Because I actually was appreciating for a lot this year. Knitting. And so what we did was
start? You want to start the thing?
Ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la.
All you need to know is la la.
Ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la.
Shabbat shalom to everyone, and welcome to our shared service with Beth Shalom and B'nai Israel. We were supposed to be over at B'nai this month, but since the air conditioner had some problems earlier on, we thought we would make sure we're here. And I can't say that it's all that cool in here, so. But as long as you hear that squeak, if you hear the squeak, it's on. The fan is on.
We decided it's not from the movie, the soundtrack for
So
the
Gus,
movie.
it's already been manipulated. So.
Not from the soundtrack of the movie Them. So those of you who know, don't get scared.
Anyways, welcome everyone. For the month of Elul, we use the Mishkan Halev on Friday nights, so this is the prayer book that you should have, because that's the only place where the page numbers are going to be. But we're going to continue on page 3 of our prayer books, at the bottom of the page with the singing of Hine Mato, how good and how pleasant, and more better than pleasant, how wonderful it is for us to be literally sitting together with one another.
הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, שבת אחים גם יחד.
We continue on page 6 with a special reading of Elul, an island in the year. Before we slip too quickly into the season of the soul, let there be a Sabbath of Sabbaths for the heart. Before the music of creation's majesty,
Let there be a silent praise of existence.
before the feast of sanctified words,
Let there be a poetry of solitude.
before we enter the palaces of prayer,
Let us find within ourselves a place of calm.
before we revel in the wondrous and sublime,
Let there be an honest inward gaze.
before the rites and ceremonies of awe,
Let
Let there be quieter days, an island of attentiveness.
we continue on page 10 with the lighting of our Shabbat candles, and it's my pleasure to invite Rabbi Appel to light our Shabbat candles. We are on page 10, and let me move the microphone for you.
I'm pretty good at moving microphones. Look at that. Okay, so we're actually on page 11. I honor the gift of stillness and rest, a day devoted to peace. Peace within my soul. On this day I have everything I need. Peace with those around me. On this day I seek no quarrel or strife. peace of earth and sky, green trees and quiet water. I give thanks that I am present in this world. I celebrate the miracle of existence, the breath within me, the beating of my heart, the love that blesses my life. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu le'adlik ner shel Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
We will continue on page 18 with the singing of Mizmor Shir and Mad Gadlu.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. Turn our page to 22 to do Lecha Dodi on verse on the last verse. I think this is verse 4. We're going to stand and welcome the Shabbat bride. Lecha Dodi. Lecha Dodi likrat shala v'nes Shabbat nekra. Lecha Dodi לקראת כלה, ונשבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, ונשבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, ונשבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם תפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, ונשבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, ונשבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מבורך ברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעש ומחת שבת תחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, ונשבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, ונשבת נקבלה. היא לשבת נקבלה. מועיל ושלום תרבה, גם בשמחה וזוהלה, תוך אמונה ים סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
We continue on page 24 with the Chatzi Kaddish.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא דיברה חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי לכל בית ישראל, בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה, יתברך, יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי דקודשה ברכו, להילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה. תושבחתה ונחמתה, תמירן בעלמא, ואמרו אמן.
We continue on page 26. There is no human being who does not carry a treasure in the soul, a moment of insight, a memory of love, a dream of excellence, a call to worship. The Baruch Hu is at the bottom of page 26. If it's comfortable to do so, please rise. And that's true every time when we rise. If it's comfortable, please rise in body, if not in spirit. And if it's your custom to do so, please be seated. And again, with all of our risings and sittings, if your custom is to rise and sit at different times, do it the way that you're comfortable doing it. We continue on with a reading on page 28.
Blessed are you, Adonai, your great name fills the universe with majestic might. Your word creates twilight and dusk, as your wisdom opens the gates of night. Your discernment separates the changing seasons and causes the passage of time. The stars arrayed across the sky reveal your design. You roll out the cycle of darkness and light, shaping day and night. You sweep away day and carry the world into nightfall, setting the day apart from nighttime. You are God of all we can perceive and all that is beyond our perception. Living, eternal God, be our sovereign to the end of time. Baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv arabim.
turn to page 30 for Ahavat Olam. Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Ahavta Torah u'mitzvot Chukim u'mishpatim Otanu limadeta Al ken Adonai Eloheinu Meshachbeinu Bekomeinu Nasiach bechukecha V'nismach b'divrei Toratecha U'v'mitzvotecha Leolam va'ed Ki hem chayenu Ve'orech yameinu Uvahem neged Yomam v'layla Ve'achavatecha otastir mimeinu leholamim Baruch atah Adonai Oheb amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kavod Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam va'ed.
Page 34, the V'ahavta. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol lebavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'otecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha Veshinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shivtecha b'veitecha, uvlechtecha v'derech, uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha, uv'shartam le'ot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha, uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha, Uvisharecha leman tiskeru vasitem ekol mitzvotai vitem kedoshim leloechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem lelohim Ani Adonai Elohechem. Adonai Elohechem Emet.
And we turn to page 40 for Mechamocha. Mechamocha ba'elim Adonai, Mechamocha nehedar b'kodesh, Norat tehilot osefele, Norat tehilot osefele. Malchutecha na'u banecha, Ukei hayom lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, ve'Eliyahu
מגיע לו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
We're gonna turn to page 42 for Hashkivenu. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu malkeinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu malkeinu lechaim. Ushmor setenu uvoenu lechaim ushalom le'ata ve'ad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu malkeinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu malkeinu lechaim.
Read the Chatima together. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei shabbat shalom, aleinu v'kol amo Yisrael v'al Yerushalayim. We turn to page 48. Jacob came upon the place and stopped there for the night, for the sun had set. Taking one of the stones of that place, he put it under his head and lay down in that place to sleep. And he dreamed, and behold, a ladder set up on the earth, and its top reached to heaven. Jacob's dream is our dream. Our bodies dwell on the earth, but our souls yearn to reach the heavens. Unless we aspire to the utmost, we shrink to inferiority. Prayer is our attachment to the utmost. The Amidah begins on the bottom of page 48, and it's 48, 50, 52. If it's comfortable to do so, please rise.
Adonai, sefatai tiftach, ufia bitehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לפני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם לעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה מתים אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיה מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה. ונאמן אתה להחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלע. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
We continue the Amidah silently to page 70. There are a lot of readings for the month of Elul in here, so please do feel free not to read every single page, but something from each pair of pages. And feel free to be seated when you are ready.
Shalom Rav al Israel Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Israel Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata hu melech adon lecho hashalom. Atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Shalom rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. B'tov b'nech לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם.
take a moment for silent reflection, and then we'll continue on page 74. It's at this time in our service where we offer a prayer for healing, a Misha Barak for those in need of healing of the body, the mind, or the spirit. And I'd like to invite Rabbi Pell to share some names from B'nai Israel with us.
Thank you. I share the names for healing. Skip Bertman, Mimi Grossman, Joy Lewis, Ted Laborde, Paulette Picu, Robin Mayer, Lucy Silva, Elizabeth Saxey, Alan Levy, Brian Moore, Sheila Parker.
And from Beth Shalom, I've been asked to mention quite a few names, actually, unfortunately. And I would say also during this year, over year and a half of COVID, that the Misha Barak is really for everyone in the room, because this has been a difficult year. But there are those who are having even a few more challenges beyond what we are challenged with. I mentioned the names of Gretchen Haynes, Minabat Yentl, Mordechai Bendina, Judith Bond-Bretnell, Roan Hausman, Belinda Salznick, Heather Barnett, Jonathan Herrera, Ana Herrera, Carmen Torres, Simon Carlo, Barbara Burton, Miles Rodriguez, Sally Kovacevic, Anna Carlo, Judy Roheim, Maureen Corcoran, Sally Duet, Fredel Tamara Batliba Bela, Vicky Firstel, Wallace Dunham, and Paula Samuels. Were there any additional names that you would like to mention at this time?
I'd like to add Bob Jones, Harav Leah bat Fredel Vidini, Harav Chana Rochel bat Rosa, and Harav Leah bat Bela Vigedalia.
Thank you.
Talia Klein.
I'd add Michael Waxman, and also Carol Carpenter, and Derek Brownleader.
Dan Krutz, and Leslie Barnard.
Thank you. We also think of those names that perhaps we chose not to mention aloud, but keep in our hearts. We think about those whose names we probably don't know, but those who are essential workers, and especially those in the variety of medical fields that have been taking care of us for the last year and a half, and took care of us before that, and will continue to take care of us afterwards. So as we join together at the bottom, I guess the middle of page 77, we pray for a healing of the body, the mind, and the spirit. Shabbat Shalom again to everyone. In case you didn't know it, the High Holy Days are around the corner. And it seems like a very narrow corner for the rabbis who are trying to get ready in time. Tonight we're going to talk about Jewish music, the sounds of the High Holy Days, what we call Sinai melodies. No matter what kind of music it is, Jewish music is fused with memory. Individual memory of Jewish experiences, camaraderie of Jewish summer camps, the awe of a first trip to Israel, familiar warmth of Shabbat services. There's also collective memory, memories of our history and traditions as a people. Musically, this collective memory is especially triggered by the special liturgical melodies known as Sinai tunes. For Ashkenazi Jews, the unique particular sound of the High Holy Days comes from these Sinai melodies. Sinai literally means from Sinai. In other words, the tunes or the melodies that God gave Moses on Mount Sinai. They are named Sinai because no one can remember a time without them. Sinai also refers to the special tunes used on the High Holy Days and on the festivals. These melodies were composed in the Rhineland, southern Germany and eastern France during the 11th through 15th centuries, a few years after Sinai, as you can imagine. The arrangements of these melodies may change, but their essence has not through the centuries. Some examples of Sinai melodies would be the Baruch Hu, the Shema, a vote prayer, Aleinu, Unatana Tokef, and Kol Nidre. Each of these pieces is a seamless mixture of traditional synagogue material and modified fragments of French and German folk and secular songs. Like biblical cancellation, Sinai tunes are colored by melismas, melodic passages with several notes on one vowel. In some of these tunes can be traced a number of separate Sinai motifs. Kol Nidre, for example, is not technically a single melody, but rather an amalgam of 7 or 8 distinct musical themes. This crossing over of musical motifs brings a sense of unity to the High Holy Days. The fixing of these songs was spurred on by the spiritual decline of European Jewish life in the 14th century, a period of crusades, the Black Death, and other devastations. Rabbi Joseph Molin, the Maharil, a renowned rabbinic authority of the time, saw the unification of synagogue song as a way to preserve Jewish heritage and devotion. He traveled extensively, serving as chazan or a cantor in various locales, and together with his disciples, established these melodies as traditional ritual. He ruled that Sinai tunes be given the same authority as if they were handed down to Moses on Sinai. That is, they should never be changed. The great effort to preserve these melodies reflects the importance placed on historical continuity and group solidarity within Judaism. Eastern European Jews, for instance, gave these melodies the elevated status of skarbova, meaning antique or old. More specifically, the term refers to the song's official status, indicating that from the time of their genesis to the present, they are considered obligatory in the High Holy Days services. No other melodies may be substituted for them. Musicologist Macy Nolman described the lasting effect of codifying this music. To this day, these melodies that stir the heart and infuse awe and devotion in one's prayer are essential elements of the synagogue service and remain a unifying force in Jewish life. In a very real sense, then, Sinai tunes provide Jews a link to a shared sacred past, announcing to the community that what we do has a history. We ourselves have a history. So with your handout, instead of bringing out all the prayer books, I'm giving you a handout tonight. We're going to do, or John's going to do, I guess, I should say, it's the royal we, 5 examples of Sinai melodies. And I will say what's interesting is with the newer High Holy Day prayer book from the Reform movement, Mishkan HaNefesh, there's also a volume of new melodies to go with the prayer book. And I don't think that any place where I've been where we've used Mishkan HaNefesh, we've actually taken melodies from the new book. I think musical memories last a long time. And it's like when we think of Sinai, it might have been something that we just started doing 10 years ago. But it becomes written in stone when it is so familiar that you can't remember or imagine any other melody. So these are pretty old Sinai melodies that John's going to give us just a little example of. And the first is the Baruch Hu, our call to worship. We find it in every evening and morning service. It's found with the Shema and her blessings section. And this is what it sounds like.
Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Vaed.
Sounded a little bit differently than the way we did the Baruch Hu tonight. The second example is Shema itself, Judaism's creed, and we find this in all evening and morning services, again found in the Shema and her blessings part of the service.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem מלכותו לעולם ועד.
And our third example is the Michamocha, our song of redemption, and we find this in all evening and morning services, and again found in the section of with the Shema and her blessings.
מי כמוך בעינים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה.
And our fourth example is the Rosh Hashanah. On Rosh Hashanah, it is written. On Yom Kippur, it is sealed. We find this in the Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur morning services. It's part of the Unetana Tokef that is found in the Amidah, and we will be studying for our Slichot program next week, next Saturday night.
There are two High Holy Day but Rosh Hashanahs. One of them is really only can be done with a full chorus, 4-part chorus, extremely muscular. That's not what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to do the much more gentle one.
בראש השנה ייכתבון, וביום צום כיפור ייחתמון. בראש השנה ייכתבון, וביום צום כיפור ייחתמון.
And the other melody that might be also considered Misinai, forget you don't have a choir, would be
בראש השנה ייכתבון, וייכתבון, וביום צום כיפור ייחתמון.
Just think of about 20 people, 5 voices per part.
And again, so it's interesting that the Misinai nature of the melody, it might depend on what congregation you belong to and which of these melodies they may have done. Our last example that we actually have in the prayer book that we're using tonight is the Vial Kulam. For all these things, O God of mercy, forgive us, pardon us, grant us atonement. We find this in the Yom Kippur evening and morning services. It's found in the Vidui or the confessional.
ועל כולם אלוה סליחות, סלח לנו, מחה לנו, כפר לנו. ועל כולם אלוה סליחות, סלח לנו, מחה לנו, סלח לנו, מחה לנו, כפר לנו.
So we wanted to give you just a little sense of sort of a little background on the Misinai melodies. And again, next Saturday, it's not tomorrow night, but a week from tomorrow for Slichot, besides our program of studying the Unetana Tokef, we will also have a short Slichot service where we will be hearing, in the context of prayer, many of our Misinai melodies, and those very, very special sounds of the High Holy Days. And now we'll continue our service, page 78, with the Elenu, 78, and then page 80. If it's comfortable to do so, please rise as we open the ark. We start with the top of page 78. Let's open the ark first. Please be seated. We turn to page 83 as we prepare for the mourner's Kaddish. Rabbi Appel is going to share a reading with us and then share the list from B'nai Israel.
And let me say to all those from B'nai Israel who are joining us via Zoom, if you have a name that you would like me to include tonight that is not part of the yahrzeit list, please put that name into the chat and I will be able to see it. Page 83, in Blackwater Woods. Look, the trees are turning their own bodies into pillars of light, are giving off the rich fragrance of cinnamon and fulfillment. The long tapers of cattails are bursting and floating away over the blue shoulders of the ponds. And every pond, no matter what its name is nameless now. Every year, everything I have ever learned in my lifetime leads back to this. The fires and the black river of loss, whose other side is salvation, whose meaning none of us will ever know. To live in this world, you must be able to do three things: to love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones, knowing your own life depends on it, and when the time comes to let it go, to let it go. On this Shabbat, during the period of Shiva, the first 7 days of mourning, we remember Seymour Parker. And we remember the following yahrzeits, anniversaries of the deaths of Ruth Abram, Jacob Bogoff, Darlene Dawn, Rose Edelman, Shirley Haspel, Karen Hillman, Bluma K. Hoffman, Michael Kaplan, Lorena LeBlanc, Rose Leopold, Ernestine Levy, Julius B. Nachman, Anna Marcus, Harvey Posner, Max Roby, Hilda Rotenberg, Irma Weinheber, Bernard Weinstein.
And from Beth Shalom, we are also saddened to announce the death on Tuesday of one of the giants of the Reform movement, Rabbi Richard Hirsch, who was almost 95 years old. Rabbi Hirsch was the founding director of the Religious Action Center for Reform Judaism. He was also the lead, and he also led the World Union for Progressive Judaism, Reform Judaism outside of North America, actually outside of the United States, because Canada is also considered World Union congregations. And he did that for 26 years. So he, a big loss to the Jewish world. We also are in the period of Shiva for Michael Carpenter, and the period of Shloshim for Jimmy Brownleader. We are also in the period of Shana up to 1 year for Mark Cohen, Lorraine Beverly Sclaver, Judy Waxman, Tibor Pereze, Paul Hussman, Herbert Barton, Margaret Winkler, and Charles Hickman. Between this Shabbat and next Shabbat, we are observing yahrzeits for Lottie Saltz, Louis Saul, Florence Weitz, Richard Williams, Rose Bond, Adelaide Friedman, Murray Horowitz, Betty Benjamin, Dulcie Trahan, David Winkler, Neil Litton, Jacob Bogoff, Esther Frank, and Albert Kober. Are there any additional names to add to our Kaddish list, or the pronunciation of any names to be corrected?
Shira Herzl.
We also think of those who have died from COVID this past year, and we are also mindful of those who died in the Holocaust at this time, who may not have anyone to say the Kaddish for them. Zikronam Livracha, may each of their memories be for a blessing as we now join as a congregation to support the mourners among us. And please either remain seated or stand according to your tradition. The Kaddish can be found on page 86. Yitgadal
V'yikadash Shemei Rabbah, V'yalma Divrach Yirutei V'yamlik Malchutei, V'chayichon V'yomechon V'chayei D'chol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala U'bizman Kariv V'yimru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Le'olam U'mei Maya, Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitramam V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar V'yitalev V'yitalal Shemei Kusha B'richu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru, Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shamaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, Amen. Oseh shalom b'ramav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, Amen.
May the source of peace bestow peace on all who mourn, and may we be a source of comfort to all who are bereaved. And together we say,
Amen.
Amen. Please be seated. Somebody's coming up. Oh, okay. We'll start with announcements for B'nai Israel, and somebody else is coming up.
So that would be Nicole Bucks-Hazy, who's coming up to do the announcement. She is a member of our Board of Trustees.
And she was from Santa Monica, California, where both of our sons were born. So
So I must be amazing.
yes, you must be amazing. Well, that we know.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
So tomorrow at 10 a.m., there's an in-person minyan at CBI. Tomorrow night, there will be Havdalah hosted by Esther and Victor Saxey at 8 p.m. on Zoom. You should have received an email already with that link. As a reminder, specifically for CBI members, the vote regarding the possible unification of the two synagogues will happen on Sunday, the 22nd of August at 4 p.m. Proxies may be turned in up until the time the meeting is called to order. Once the meeting starts, it will be too late to submit your proxy. If you have questions about the voting process, please speak directly with Andy Bloomberg. If you would like to read the task force reports from the Joint Synagogue Exploratory Committee, they are all posted at b'naibr.org/Baton Rouge Jewish Future. If you have questions about the possible unification, please speak with a member of the JSEC, or you can send an email to batonrougejewishfuture@gmail.com, easy to remember, with any of your questions. Next Friday, August 27th at 6 p.m., there will be a Shabbat service with Rabbi Appel. Please join us either in person or Zoom, however you're comfortable. Next Saturday night, August 28th at 7 p.m., we'll begin our warm-up for the High Holy Days with our joint Silly Code program and service at Congregation B'nai Israel. So join us there, either in person or on Zoom as well. And a week from this Sunday, which is the 29th of August, at 2 p.m., we'll have our memorial service in the CBI Cemetery on North Street. The service is both in person and on Zoom if you'd like to attend virtually. Thank you.
Some of them are going to be repeats. Repeats, right? Because we're doing several things together.
Okay. I'd like to welcome those who have come from near and far and beyond to our services tonight. The most important thing we have to announce is the notice of the unification vote for Beth Shalom. It will be at 4 o'clock this Sunday, August 22nd. We would very much like everyone to attend in person, if at all possible. We need 30 members present in person to have a quorum, and because of the current COVID policy and precautions, masks are required. If participating by Zoom link, please make sure your camera is turned on and your name is on the screen. Babysitting is available and reservations were required. And again, as Nicole mentioned, if you want to get in touch with a JSEC member, there is a website. They're taking all your questions. Next, tomorrow we'll have at 9:30 Covenant and Conversations in person and on Zoom. And there is a handout, Deuteronomy 22. And following that, 10:30 services in person and on the Beth Shalom YouTube. We again mentioned the Shlukot service next Saturday, August 28th, at 7 p.m., hosted by Congregation B'nai Israel. And the Mishkan Nefesh book can be obtained here if you want to borrow it, or the flip book, which you can get online. There's a link in our service. And there was something else I missed. Book club, oh yes. On the third Sunday of every month, we have book club. Except I can't find it. Yeah, not September because of all the services. But in October, on the 17th at 3 o'clock, we'll discuss the Morningside Heights. It's a new novel by Joshua Henkin. It's a sweeping novel about marriage, surviving hardship. I've already read the book. It's a great book and very touching. And then looking ahead is November 21st at 3 o'clock, and we'll discuss the book Meshuggah by Isaac Bashevis Singer. And then on December 19th at 3 p.m., we'll discuss Jill Cantor's novel, The Hours Count. That's good. Got it all?
That's plenty, I think.
We have a lot.
So we have nothing going on with either congregation for the next month. But again, so for Beth Shalom members, the reason why we need 30 people present, in terms of a quorum, is that the first vote is going to be whether or not to change our bylaws to allow for virtual voting for the other matters. So we need the quorum to first vote on that topic. And we will, as you can tell, we've got our space pretty open, and then those can join us on
And
Zoom.
one thing to add for the B'nai Israel folks is that there is babysitting for Sunday. So if you need babysitting for the meeting on Sunday, great, if you're gonna show up in person, and if you're not showing up in person, make sure you give your proxy to someone who can vote for you.
Okay. Again, thank you to all of our musicians tonight. As usual, Lillian, Zach, and John.
And to our ark opener helper.
Yes, Tessa, thank you very much. Often Tessa will sing. I think usually closing song she may join in. And thank you to all of you for being here tonight. And those who may be watching from home on YouTube or on Zoom, thank you for joining us as well. I would invite everybody to maybe just wave across the room and say Shabbat Shalom to one another. And we do look forward to a time when we can all break bread together. Our closing song tonight, the last few lines of the Kaddish, actually, Osei Shalom. As we hope for peace. And I guess I should thank Rabbi Krell, my partner in crime.
And I should thank Rabbi Appleby, my partner in crime.
And as an ex-prosecutor, I'm telling you, there's no crime here at all.
And as an ex-public defender, yes, I think we're fine.
Shalom, shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, amen.
it's comfortable for you to do so, if you can, when you leave tonight, if you can just take the prayer book and put it on the table, that will be good, because tomorrow morning we'll be using our regular prayer book. If not, we can put them out there. Shabbat shalom to everyone. Good
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbos.
Shabbat shalom.
So, I remember assistant rabbi brought Yom in Newport Beach. Making these booming sermon. He's an 18-foot arc, because he was a big man. But he said he didn't get our sermon, our services. And so he did 10 minutes for sermons. He said, you can't say what you want to say in 10 minutes, you don't know what I'm trying to say. But there's always like one more story you could